Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and today I wanted to talk about a few known and ongoing issues in the Division 2. Now, I'm sure some of you are rolling your eyes right now going, oh yeah, this is the usual cycle. Every major title update for the Division 2 has had its fair share of problems since Season 9 and the game returned to putting out new content. But the reason I wanted to highlight this all and do this today specifically is that some creators and players that I've seen around the community seem to be forgetting our history a little bit, at least in my opinion. So let's just get right into this. The main topic that I want to cover and talk about is this current bug that is going on that I'm sure many of you have heard about. I've certainly been receiving a lot of questions about it. No, I'm not going to go into the details of that here. That's not what I do here on the channel. I think most of you know that by now. And I did just want to mention quickly that I know many of you think that because I don't regularly cover bugs or how to do them or all that stuff here on the channel, that a lot of you think that I just don't care and I don't try and improve that stuff for the game. This might be a shocker, but I can do stuff off camera. So, what a lot of the time I do is people send me a ton of reports. I, of course, gather my own information as I play the game. I try and corroborate that stuff and then submit it in the channels that I have access to. Basically, I try and do my part to improve the game for all of us with the resources that I have access to. But back to the topic, without going into detail, the issue in question revolving crafting involves a method where basically every time you craft something, you end up receiving maxed out rolls, whether it's gear mods, gear itself, weapons, whatever. Now, upon hearing that, at first, your eyes might light up and say, oh my god, how do I do it? And while I'm not your dad, I'm not going to tell you not to. The information is out there if you want to go and find it. My goal with this video is to pass along some extreme caution. Because as I said, there's a lot of people out there who are just blindly saying, do this right now, do it, do it, do it. And so, I know it was a year ago, but have we all forgotten about the Descent XP bug or the Lao XP farm before that? If you're newer to the game or you just don't remember, major bugs and glitches have arisen in this game and community before. And if they're severe enough, or they're so intricate to the point where you basically have to intentionally trigger it to be abusing it and taking advantage of it, the devs have historically taken action and will pass out both temporary suspensions or permanent bans. And that of course brings up the age-old debate on whether or not that is fair for them to punish players for things that are in their game. Where does the onus fall in those kinds of situations? My stance, as I've said in previous videos on this, is it doesn't really matter, because regardless of what you believe personally about that, the devs have said time and time again about as plain as vanilla ice cream, we take this stuff very seriously and we will ban you for abusing it. And so in my view, that is the problem right now with this situation, is that we don't know their thoughts on this specific bug, this specific issue. So I'm not saying that if you do this, you will 100% get banned. But as I said, it does concern me how many videos and posts I've seen of people saying, do this right now before they patch it without any second thought. In my mind, if you have to say the words do it before they patch it, that should probably make you pause and at least consider. So that's basically the message that I want to convey here. I'm not saying don't do it. I have no idea if you will get banned for this, but it is absolutely an issue within the realm of where rollbacks or bans could be the repercussion. So at the very least, consider those outcomes before you partake in this. As I said, we have no word on the issue as of yet or what the devs think about it, how they're going to approach it. I assume we'll hear something early next week, and if so, I'll certainly pass that info along. I'll shout out now, it's always a good idea to follow me on Twitter for those kinds of updates because they share them directly to that platform. The link for it is down in the description if you're curious. Alright, so we talked about that, but given this topic and opportunity, I did also want to briefly touch on a few other current known issues for Year 6 Season 1, as I've been receiving a lot of messages and questions about various topics. So this is my periodic reminder, please use the known issues board as a resource. Alright, if you don't know what that is, it is a place where the devs track all of these things. It lets you know what they're aware of, what they're working on, what the timeline is for the potential fixes going into the game. It's very useful. As a lot of you know, I will link you directly to that if I get asked about issues that are already on there. I have it linked down in the description of every single one of my videos, so go check right now. It's down there, the link for it. So here's what it looks like. Again, I cannot recommend enough that you bookmark this page, use it as a resource because it's incredibly helpful to be able to track these things. Under the investigating tab right here is where all of the main issues right now that they're aware of for this current update are at. We have stuff like the control points that are resetting upon login. That's a big one people are asking about. We have the agonizing bite not functioning in Descent. That's a big one that people were talking about. The fact that in raids, skill damage and repair skills are being halved. Again, that's obviously not intended. That's there. The issue where you can't inspect other agents' loadouts, that's on here. The thing where XP has been reduced for certain projects or activities, that was due to the removal of world tiers. Again, they're aware of that as well. So all, 5 of those issues that we just talked about, I've gotten a lot of questions about. And these have been on the known issues board for, a few days now. And it says this one, the fix is planned for TU 21.1. That should be in maybe a week or two. That one's the same. Any with these pink label there of that. This one doesn't have a timeline yet, but you get the idea. You can track all of that information that you need right here. Of course, I will continue to link people to these things when they ask me about it, but just for the sake of your guys' time, it'll save you a good amount if you just bookmark this and use it accordingly. Alright, and then there's just one last thing that I wanted to at least briefly mention. I'm sure that through watching this, some of you have groaned over this video going, here we go again with the issues in the game, or conversely, some of you are probably sitting high and pretty with a smug smile saying, of course, the Division 2 has more issues. Obviously, it sucks to talk about this stuff in nearly every major update, and while bugs are inevitable in any game, let alone live games that are constantly changing the code, the Division 2 has notoriously been issue-ridden since Season 9, and like I said, the return to content for the game. But if you wanted a more positive spin on things and you want any kind of a silver lining with all of this update may have actually landed in a pretty good spot. Palle Hofstein put up this tweet the other day. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the top people on the Division 2, the lead art producer. He said, this week's update has some issues. This is the biggest update we've done since launch on an old and very complex game. So yeah, there's going to be some issues, but the devs and the players who love this game will work through it. Now, upon first hearing that, you might be thinking, how is this the largest update when it added almost no new content? Well, it's because of all of the back-end changes that they did, notably with the new one endgame system and feature that was the main selling point of this update. Again, it might not be super obvious to endgame players, but they did a lot through the 1 to 40 experience, right? They completely removed the world tier and gear score system from the game. That was obviously very integral in the level 30 stuff and all of that. That's now completely gone. They overhauled character progression and leveling, kind of redistributed loot between level 1 to 40 so that it flows more naturally. That includes then enemy difficulty as well, allowing for you to be able to level between levels 31 and 40 in DC. They removed some of the old blockers tied to the Warlords of New York expansion. You can now freely travel between New York City and DC during the campaign. So again, it doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not stuff that us in the endgame can really take advantage of, but that is some big stuff coding-wise that they've been talking about needing to do for years now prior to their big seasonal overhauls that we know is coming up, the Brooklyn DLC, whatever other content they're working on for the future. And so again, that might seem easy, but touching, let alone rewriting that amount of old code has the potential for disastrous effects across literally any other part of the game. And so that's not to say that that excuses, there being issues in the current update, but given that the game has continued to run smoothly here, there's some annoyances for sure, but nothing obstructive to the gameplay or the moment-to-moment enjoyment. Like I said, if you want to take a positive outlook, I would say that's a win. Otherwise, in the meantime, it does suck that we're dealing with this new bug thing. I hope that there's not too many harsh suspensions. I don't think we really need that for the community right now, but hopefully that and the rest of these issues get cleared up pretty soon. And on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, people. I very much appreciate you checking out this video. Let me know your thoughts on, of course, the main topic here regarding the crafting issue, and if you think the devs are going to take any kind of action on the players who used it, or additionally any other issues that you're having with the current update. Maybe if they're not listed on the known issues board, then is there anything that you want to try and get reported? Certainly let me know. Any thoughts? As always, leave them down below. If you enjoyed the video and you want to stay up to date on everything with the Division 2, then I would greatly appreciate you clicking that subscribe button. As always, I got a lot more videos coming your way, but that is going to do it for me today, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. RogueGold. Out.